This is Carolyn with day 7 of So You Want to Write a Novel. We are going to be writing pages 30 to 35 today. You should have already completed your old life before the opportunity. The opportunity should be on the page, as should be the hero's first pushback against it. This initial pushback may be very toddler in essence. And now we're kind of moving. He's had time to think in these pages that we're going to write today. He's evolving in his excuses and his responsibilities that he has in his old life. And he may be reflecting on his old life, even though he knows it sucks. He is reflecting that it wasn't so bad. And why shouldn't he stay here? Why should he go on this risky trip with the magician or the villain, who may not be revealed as the villain yet, or maybe clearly the villain, as in Dodgeball. The Globodoom owner is clearly, Dwight is clearly the villain and is the one pushing against the hero. Remember, the villain creates the hero, and sometimes it's, the theory the other way around, but certainly in our story, for the most part, the villain creates the hero. For the most part, if the villain would just lay off, the hero would never have emerged from his cocoon and become the hero of lore to beat the villain. Right now, we're going to concentrate on the conflict and tension between the magician, for the most part, maybe the villain, maybe the lover. Whoever presented the opportunity is now fighting, arguing with the hero, because the hero does not want the opportunity. Now, how we're going to make today different than yesterday is we're going to evolve along with the hero. Yesterday, he was very childlike and explosive. Today, he may be more meditative and articulate. But his old life does not suit him anymore. It is like an old suit that just is rumpled and stained and gross. And the hero feels this. He's striving to try and make it sound like his old life was pretty good. But it's very clear it's getting worse and worse and worse. If his boss was bad, his boss is awful. If his girlfriend was sleeping around, she's now sleeping with his best friend or his father. We're just getting worse. This is also a time to explore whoever gave the opportunity to the hero, because he's going to be arguing with the hero. So we're going to be finding out more about that character. Do they speak in Old English? Do they more modern? Are they hip hop? Are they slang? Are they Cajun? I don't know. Again, this is the beauty of story structure. It gives you the lattice, it gives you the scaffolding, but you get to decide what your story's unique point of view is. Since this is pretty much a continuation of the hero pushing against the magician for the most part, or whoever gave the opportunity to the hero, I wanted to talk to you maybe about some POV issues. As we remember, you can either have first person, which you are married to that person throughout the book. You can have third person, one POV. You are constantly in only one person's perspective. And sometimes you want to do that. I have a book like that because I wanted the love interest to be very mysterious. I did not want to be in his perspective. It was pretty much just those two. So I made a clear-cut decision to stay only in the hero's perspective and stay out of the love interest. But for the most part, and the vast majority of people write, is in third person multiple. So we are going in the hero's head, maybe the love interest, the magician, maybe the villain, sidekick, some stranger on the street. It really doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but what matters is the decision that you make. The other decision you have to make is, and for the most part, those POVs are 1 to 3 pages, and we change each time, and for average chapters are 7 to 10 pages. And for the most part, we want to be in the most interesting perspective. In a fight, that may be the hero, it may be the magician. Now remember, the magician's role is really to hold secrets. So if he's holding secrets, we don't want to be so much in his perspective at that moment, because it's going to feel artificial if later we reveal he was thinking something else and we didn't see that when we were in his perspective. So definitely, if you've not yet been doing multiple POVs, guess what? I don't care. You're going to start now. If you're going to ultimately do multiples, or maybe you've been doing multiples but staying in there 7 to 10 pages, that gets a little long in the tooth, and modern readers want the story to move, and more move. So I'm going to ask you right now, and it's totally fine. I make decisions like this on the fly and just move on and then go back and edit the other. So I don't want you to panic. And I actually want you to get used to this process because, yes, right now I'm artificially telling you to do something that maybe I didn't tell you before, but organically, at some point, you're going to decide something in a story and have to just throw it down, move forward, and fix it later. Okay, we do not stop and look back in these modules at all. I want that first time that you read your book straight through and start the editing process to really be the first time you've read it straight through and really the first time you've read multiple sections, because I want it fresh. I don't want you knowing every word and every line, because that's when you really mess up and when you're way too married to your words. So I really want you to learn this skill set, which is we're going to pick up and go. If you have not been using multiple, now maybe you've decided to be in single, then stay in single, but you really should be cutting that at least every 3 pages and either moving physically, she moves from the bedroom to the bathroom or to the kitchen, or time-wise, she went to bed, now she wakes up. So that's kind of where you want, and those bigger jumps, the bigger the jump, usually that's going to be a chapter cut. POV cuts, sectional cuts are smaller, but have either time or physical movement involved. That's why. Otherwise, it would just be the same POV. You can't just break a POV. We're in a room arguing and we stay there and you break the POV and stay in the same person. That's not a POV break. You just put 3 asterisks down for fun. So you want to be thinking about that if you're in third person or first person. The first person and third person single follow the same rules. It is the multiples where we move different heads that it changes. So let's say you've been doing 5 to 6 pages in every POV. I want you to cut that down to 1 to 3. I want you to jump faster. I want it to be more exciting. I want to have some verve in here. One of the ways that we improve our writing is simply by decreasing the amount of time we spend in any one POV if we're writing third person close multiple. If any of this is confusing you, there's an entire POV free module. Go listen to it, because this becomes important as we move through. Again, if you're in first person or third person single, you're married to that, you're there. If you're multiple though, I want you to cut that down to 1 to 3 pages per POV and being in a head. And then I want you to jump to somebody else. And again, if we're in this room having an argument, I may be hero, magician, hero, sidekick, villain, magician. I may move around and then come back to hero. That's not true. I'd probably go hero, magician, hero, sidekick, hero, villain, because the hero is the hero. So he gets the spotlight and we go back to him the most. That was your pages 30 to 35. We are still in the old life world, but we are not in the old life necessarily because the hero has changed. He looks upon his old life very differently. It's kind of pathetic, gross. He doesn't like it so much anymore. He is still pushing back against the opportunity though, because he does not want the pain and suffering that's going to bring him. He's too afraid of that. He's too reluctant of that. How we are going to change these pages from yesterday's pages is that we're going to increase these risks and stakes in his old life. It's going to get worse and worse. We're going to be tightening and tightening the screws on him. And we're going to be exploring some character to the person that presented the opportunity is arguing with the hero. So we have a lot to do in these 5 pages. This was day 7. We are going to be working on day 8 tomorrow, and I look forward to it.